Have you ever looked at your life and quietly asked yourself, how did I end up here? Not because of one terrible decision, not because of one big failure, but because somehow, over the years, things never became what you hoped they would be. The dreams you once carried feel distant. The goals that once excited you remain unfinished. The person you imagined becoming seems farther away than ever. The painful truth is that most lives are not changed by one dramatic mistake. They are shaped by the small things people ignore every day. Every ignored habit, every delayed decision, every excuse, and every wasted hour becomes a brick in the future you are building. Whether you realize it or not, your future is being built by what you ignore today. There was a young man named Ethan. He was 24 years old and lived in a small apartment on the edge of a busy city. From the outside, his life looked completely normal. He had a stable job, a roof over his head, and enough money to survive. His family believed he was doing fine. His friends thought he was simply taking his time to figure life out. But inside, Ethan carried a quiet frustration that nobody could see. Every day felt the same. Every week passed like the last. Deep down, he knew he was capable of more. Yet he couldn't understand why his life never seemed to move forward. Ethan was not lazy in the way people imagine laziness. He had dreams. He had plans. He spent hours thinking about the future he wanted. He imagined becoming successful. He imagined traveling, building something meaningful, and making his family proud. He pictured himself waking up every morning with confidence and purpose. The problem was not that he lacked ambition. The problem was that his ambition existed mostly in his mind. His actions rarely matched his dreams. Every morning, Ethan woke up with good intentions. He would tell himself that today would be different. Today he would exercise. Today he would start learning new skills. Today he would finally take the first step toward his goals. But before getting out of bed, he reached for his phone. Just 5 minutes, he told himself. 5 minutes became 20. 20 became 40. Soon an entire hour disappeared. By the time he got ready for the day, the motivation he had felt in the morning was gone. He would shrug and tell himself there was always tomorrow. After work, the same cycle continued. Ethan returned home tired and mentally drained. Instead of working on himself, he searched for comfort. He watched videos. He scrolled endlessly through social media. He compared his life to people he saw online. Some seemed happier. Some seemed richer. Some seemed more successful. The comparisons made him feel worse, yet he continued doing it every night. Hours disappeared without him noticing. Then, before going to sleep, he would make another promise. Tomorrow will be different. Unfortunately, tomorrow always looked exactly like today. Months passed, then years. Slowly, Ethan began noticing something uncomfortable. His friends were changing. One friend started a business. Another learned new skills and earned a better job. Someone else transformed his health and confidence through consistent effort. None of them became successful overnight, yet they were moving forward while Ethan remained in the same place. He felt as if life was a train leaving the station and he was standing on the platform watching it disappear into the distance. One evening, after another day that felt wasted, Ethan sat alone on a bench in a quiet park. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. Children laughed as they played nearby. Elderly couples walked slowly along the path. Joggers moved with determination. Everyone seemed to have somewhere to go. Everyone seemed to be moving towards something meaningful. Ethan stared at the ground and felt a strange heaviness in his chest. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was regret. For the first time, he realized he had spent years dreaming about a better future while doing very little to create one. As he sat there lost in thought, he noticed an old gardener working nearby. The man moved slowly, carefully planting tiny seeds into the soil. Ethan watched him for several minutes. The work seemed strange. The seeds were so small that they looked almost meaningless. Eventually, curiosity pushed him to walk over and ask a question. "Why spend so much time planting something so small?" Ethan asked. "They don't even look important." The gardener smiled gently and held one of the seeds between his fingers. Because tomorrow's garden depends on what I plant today, he replied. Ethan nodded politely, but the old man continued speaking. Most people misunderstand life, the gardener said. They want beautiful flowers without planting seeds. They want confidence without facing discomfort. They want success without discipline. They want a better future while repeating the same habits every day. Then the gardener looked directly into Ethan's eyes and asked a question he would never forget. What seeds are you planting in your own life? The words hit Ethan harder than he expected. He stood silent for a moment. The answer was painfully clear. He wasn't planting seeds for growth. He was planting seeds of delay. Every time he chose comfort over effort, he planted another seed. Every time he ignored his goals, he planted another seed. Every time he said, "I'll start tomorrow," he planted another seed. Years later, he was simply living in the garden those choices had created. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. The gardener's question echoed through his mind again and again. For the first time, he stopped blaming bad luck. He stopped blaming circumstances. He stopped waiting for motivation to magically appear. Instead, he faced a difficult truth. The future he wanted could never be built through wishes. Could only be built through daily actions. The next morning, Ethan made a simple decision. He would stop focusing on huge changes and start focusing on small ones. Instead of trying to transform his entire life overnight, he would simply plant one good seed each day. He got out of bed without checking his phone. He made his bed. He drank a glass of water. He took a short walk before work. These actions seemed insignificant, but for Ethan they represented something much bigger. They represented proof that he was finally taking control. Days turned into weeks. Some days were easy. Others were difficult. There were moments when he wanted to quit and return to his old habits. But every time he felt tempted, he remembered the gardener and the seeds. He reminded himself that success was not built in a single day. Neither was failure. Both were created through repeated choices. As the months passed, the small changes began producing visible results. Ethan felt healthier. His mind became clearer. His confidence grew stronger. He learned new skills. He became more focused at work. Opportunities started appearing where he once saw obstacles. The most surprising thing was that his life did not change because of one massive breakthrough. It changed because of hundreds of small actions that seemed unimportant at the time. 1 year later, Ethan returned to the same park. The flower bed where he had met the gardener was now overflowing with color. Flowers of every kind swayed gently in the evening breeze. As he stood there admiring them, he finally understood the lesson. The flowers were never created on the day they bloomed. They were created months earlier when nobody could see them. They were created when tiny seeds were placed into the ground and cared for consistently. Your future works the same way. The life you will live next year is being built today. The confidence you want, the success you desire, the peace you seek, and the person you hope to become are all growing from the seeds you plant right now. Every habit matters. Every choice matters. Every hour matters. What feels small today may become the reason your life looks completely different tomorrow. So ask yourself honestly, what are you ignoring right now? Is it your health, your goals, your relationships, your discipline, your potential? Whatever it is, remember this powerful truth. The future does not arrive by accident. It arrives as the result of what you repeatedly choose to do today. Because in the end, your future is not being built by your dreams. It is being built by your daily actions. And the things you continue to ignore today may become the very things you wish you had changed tomorrow. If the story touched you, share and subscribe for more stories.